So your assignment for this week is going to be to use NetLogo to write your initials. So before you do, my expectation is that you have three initials. And again, the initial is your first letter of each of your first, middle, and last name. If you have a hyphenated last name or three or four last name, you can just narrow down to three. If you have no middle name, then you can just write a 0 or an X there. But the idea is you're going to end up having three letters written out. So my initials are C for Creighton, my middle name is Lee, and then my last name Eddington. So I could write them like this, or I could do curved letters. But this is the easier way of doing it. And the reason I'm doing this ahead of time is I'm going to plan, because I'm going to end up creating a turtle here on NetLogo. I'm going to have it walk this way and then down and then over. I'm going to create another turtle right here, and I'm going to have it walk down and over. And as these turtles are walking, it's going to drag a pin. This one's a little bit more complicated. I'm going to have it walk this way, walk down, walk this way, turn around, and then walk back, walk down, and this way. Now again, I could have my turtle start down at the bottom and walk up. The other thing is, if I wanted to, I could create three turtles at the same time. One here, have both of them walk this distance, and then have this one walk another turtle, create another turtle, and have it just walk down. So it's up to you how you want them to do, how you want it to walk. My suggestion though is that you create a turtle, one turtle for each initial, and have it do a pass. So that's what I'm going to end up doing. So for the NetLogo, we're going to leave the world as it is, but we do need a start button. So I'm going to come over here and I'm going to I clicked on my padlock to unlock it. I'm going to go up here in the corner and right click and create button. I'm going to type in setup. Again, it's kind of what we use by tradition, and it's not going to matter a whole lot because I'm going to leave this world the way it is, and I need to go back and lock my padlock. Alright, so for this I'm going to go ahead and do what we've done a bunch of times already. I'm going to start off my procedure. I'm going to call it 2 and then setup. And let me go ahead and make my screen a little bit bigger for you to see what I'm typing a little bit easier. Set up, hit enter several times, do END, come back up here, and what I'm going to do is do clear dash, which the dash is the minus sign next to the number 0 at the top of your keyboard. So clear dash all, and what that does is it clears everything from the previous times we've ran it. So it basically erases all the turtles we might have made there before. It sets our patches back to black, sets our world back to the square. So it just reconfigures everything for us. Alright, so the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to set my background to a color that I like, and I'm going to leave that up to you. I'm going to say set background, and I'm going to pick out blue. And again, the semicolon, that's just for us to read. When I type this in, the computer doesn't say, oh, I need to set the background to blue. It's just so I know what this block of text underneath here does. And what I'm going to, and here's the actual command to make this happen. I'll say ask patches, P-A-T-C-H-E-S, and I'm going to do a starting square bracket, which is next to the letter P, hit enter twice, do an ending square bracket. Again, I'm going to come up here and do set P color, and that stands for patch color, blue. Going to up here recompile, that loads in my code into the web version of this. And I'm going to hit setup, and you can see that my little world there is blue. Now this is going to be a little bit tricky, so just to make it a little bit easier for you to see, I'm going to go ahead and reduce my screen because this is going off the edge of the world. I'm going to undo my padlock, click on this, I'm going to grab this center square on the far right edge, and I'm going to drag it over here. So that's my setup button. I'm going to click on this and hold down my mouse and drag it over there. And then that way when I make my screen go bigger again, we'll be able to see the whole world a little bit easier. Okay, so that's made my background blue. Now the default settings here is the 0, 0, the origin of my world. The center is right here at 0, x value is at 0, the y value is 0. So I'm going to end up, and then my edge over here is -16. So I'm going to randomly pick a starting spot, thinking about my L needs to be in the center. So I'm going to look at my L being in the center of this, and then my C being over at the start. So I am going to, just with trial and error, I'm going to pick out that I want my turtle to, well, we'll do this first part here. We're just going to create a turtle here. I'm going to do semicolon, semicolon, and I'm going to say make letter C. And I'm going to say create dash turtles, Turtles, and then I'm going to make one turtle. So when I go back up to recompile and I hit setup, by default it makes a turtle, and it makes a random color, and it puts it right in the center. So I'm going to zoom out a little bit on my screen here. But this is position 0, 0. And you see each time I click on there, the turtle's in the center. It's just, the default is this little diamond shape or a little triangle shape, and the color is randomized. But I want this turtle to start up here, so I can make a C like this. So if this is 0, this over here would be -16, and I want it to start up here. I'm going to say about a negative 8, 6 maybe, -6. And then I'm going to move it up there a little bit too. So in order to modify this turtle I just created, I'm going to do a starting square bracket, hit enter twice, do an ending square bracket, and then I'm going to say set XY, and that stands for its XY coordinate, XY, and I'm going to do the X first, so I'm going to make that -6, and then I'm going to do maybe 10 for the Y coordinates. I'm going to raise it up, so I'm going to move it to the left, and then I'm going to move it up a little bit. So when I come up here, oops, I forgot to hit recompile. Do recompile. Alright, so that looks okay. Now the other thing is, you can see each time I click on there, the heading is random. I want to go ahead and start it at that position, which would be 270 degrees. So again, 0 straight up, this is 90, down was 180, this would be 270. So every single time I click on it, instead of it being a random spot, a random direction, I'm going to make it face 270. So I'm going to say set heading 270. Go back up here, recompile, and then now every single time you see now the heading's in the same spot, and you see it's a different color. Well, I don't like the blue on blue, that's hard to see. I'm going to go ahead and make my turtle end up being red. So now I'm going to say set color red, and I'm just going to kind of even these out here. Oops. So everything's lined up. Not that that matters, just nicer to keep things. Alright. So now you see every time I click on there, it's a red turtle facing at 270 degrees, and it's up there in the corner instead of the other place. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to have the turtle move. But before I have it move, I'm going to go ahead and do another command, which is called pin down. So it's P-E-N, like a writing pen, not like a P-I-N that you stick somebody with or use for sewing, but a pin. And I'm going to say pin down. And what that does is whatever color the marker, the turtle is, it will drag a marker around that color. So my red turtle will have a red pin. And then what I'm going to tell it to do after I tell it to go pin down, I'm going to say forward. And I'm going to pick out a number that seems kind of reasonable. I'm just going to go ahead and say 8. So I'm going to move it forward 8. I'm going to do recompile here. And I'm going to do setup. And you see what I did? It started off where it did, and I went forward 8 patches, so it made a little line. And then now I'm going to go down. So I went forward 8, and I'm going to go down 10 or 12. I go down 12. But before I do that, if I say forward 12, it's just going to keep on going this direction. So I need to go ahead and make it turn left 90 degrees. So after I've done that, I'm going to say left 90. So that'll make it turn left. And I'm going to say forward. And I picked out 12. I'm going to do recompile. And now it's done that. It's again went there, there. Now I'm going to have it turn left again and go to here. So I'm going to say left 90 and then forward. And I want it to go forward 8. And there's my letter. Alright, so now I want to make an L. And my L, I'm going to start up here. So I'm going to start in the same Y coordinate, but I'm going to move over a couple of patches this direction. And so I'm going to and this turtle, we can leave it there or we can kill it. So not that we like killing turtles, but we're going to tell this one to die. And you'll see that it'll basically, when I hit setup, it's going to look like it does here, except this will disappear. So everything is there. It did this, went forward, turned, went down, came here, and then it died. So now that turtle is gone. So what I'm going to do is make another turtle. And my L is just about like my C. So since copy and paste is your friend in computer programming, I'm going to go ahead and copy all of this. So there is Control C for copy, Control V for paste. I'm going to say make letter L. So make a capital L. I'm going to create one turtle. Again, I want it starting at the same Y value, but I want to go ahead and change this a couple spots. And then instead of set heading at 270, because 270 would be facing off the screen, I want to go ahead and make it facing down. Straight down would be 180. And then here I'm going to set the color red, pin down. I want it to be the same length as it was for my letter up here, so I'm going to change this 8 to a 12. And then it's going to do a left 90, and then I'm going to go 8, and then the rest of this code can go away. Well, except for the die part. Alright. So again, just put the pin down, we go forward, we make a left, and we go forward, and then we die. So we'll see, that should make the L. So I'll go up there, and there's my letter L. Alright, so my next thing is I need to make the letter E. So I can kind of think about that with a plan here. So my thinking is I want to go ahead and start up here like I did with this, but I want to use this as my ending spot. Add 2 because that's the space I did from here to here. I added 2 spaces. So I want to add 2 more, but I want to start up here. So 2 more plus 8 is 10. And so hopefully this will turn out right. And if it doesn't, it's not a big deal, because since we're doing this on a computer, all we have to do is go back and change your code. So again, the x coordinate started here at -4, and then I went 8 patches forward from there, so that's going to be +4. Then I want to skip over 2, so that would be a 6. So I'm going to go ahead and start at 6, and this made a letter C, and so I'm going to see if I start off in the right spot. So I need to scoot it over. I forgot about going forward the 8 more. So I skipped over my 2, but I didn't move from there. I didn't move over more. So I need to do that for my letter E. And I think I made another mistake there. Yep. I added too much there. Because I already added the 2. Let me subtract 2 more. So instead of 16, I want this to be 14. And there is CL, and I just need an E. So I could have this guy come down, go forward, then come back, and then do this and go down. Or after I make this, I could make a turtle right there and just have it go forward and die. But I'm going to go ahead and have this one, instead of going down 10, I'm going to have it go down 5 and then kind of retrace its step there. So it goes forward 8. Oh, I forgot. It's not 10. It's 12 that we went. So I'm going to say go forward 6. Then it's going to do a left turn. Then it's going to go forward. And so the E, the little middle line in the E is not sticking out so far. I'm going to say 6. And then I need to turn all the way back around. So I'm going to say left, and I could have said right, but I'm going to say left 180, then forward 6, and then once it's forward 6, then I need to do another left turn, left 90, forward 6, so it goes down to the bottom. Then my next one is left 90, and then forward 8, and hopefully that will work. We will see. Compile code, setup, and there it is. So again, I set it over here. I told it to go forward 8. It went forward 8. I told it to turn left 90 degrees. It did, so now it's facing this. I told it to go down 6 patches. It went down 6 patches. I told it to turn to the left. It turned to left 90 degrees. Went to the end of this. I told it to turn around 180 degrees. So instead of facing to this side of the screen, it's facing this side. Told it to go back 6 patches. So now it's back on the line where it needs to be. Told it to do another left turn. Did a left turn. Then sent it down 6 patches. Did another left turn 90 degrees, and then back 8. So there are my initials. And again, one of the things we can do just to make this a little bit easier to see is after our color here for a turtle, I'm going to go ahead and add set pen size, and I'm going to make the pen a little bit bigger. Let me see if 2 is going to work. So you can see that's a little darker. I want it to be a little bit wider, so instead of 2, I might make it 5 there. We'll see. Yeah, that looks a little darker. So now I'm going to incorporate that change in my other turtles. So after I set their color red, then I'm going to make their pen size bigger. Copied and pasted that in there. And set pen size. And you don't need to do this if you don't want to. Recompile. And there are my initials. So what you're going to do again is your initials, first name, first letter of your first name, first letter of your middle name, first letter of your last name. If you have a hyphenated last name or a two-name last name, you just do your first name and then the last. Don't worry about your middle initial. If you only have a first and a last name, then make this either an X or an O, or it's your choice, either one. And the other thing is you can make the colors you want, and if you do these colors, just blue or red or one of the standards, you'll get 45 out of you'll lose 5 points. If you use the RGB values for the colors, then you will get full credit. So again, what I'm expecting for full credit is 3 letters written out, and you have made the colors that you're using the RGB values, which again you need a set of brackets and you need to look those up. If you need help with that, it's in the other lessons, but also I can help you with that specific task. Alright, again, come to my office hours. 1:30 to 2:30 usually works the best if you need some additional help. Thank you very much.